All right guys, so I wanted to show you how to redo the oil pan gasket on a K-series motor. As you can see, obviously I don't have the front bumper on, so this gives me a little bit more access for lowering the subframe. So you're gonna see the subframe bolts here. Oh sorry, that's the control arm, sorry. Subframe bolts here, one here, then we got one on the other end over there. And then if you come towards the back of the subframe, you got some right there near the sway bars that you need to loosen up as well. So you're gonna do those 4 bolts. And what this does is you can kind of see the gap here on how much I lowered it. So usually this would be pushed all the way up, so I can actually kind of push it up by hand. It's actually quite heavy. There you go. Yeah. So that lets you move the subframe. Another thing that you're gonna have to disconnect, you'll see this big bolt I have laying here. This is for the motor mount, which is connected to the front of the subframe here. So you'll see that motor mount right there. And so I removed the bolt that goes into there to let the front subframe drop. And the main reason we need to do this is once the oil pan is undone and unbolted, we need enough gap to be able to remove it. So that's why you have to lower the front subframe. The next step here is actually removing all these bolts for the oil pan. As you can see, I've already removed all of them here. And then also you got to remember to do the one near the crank. There's 3 little bolts right there. And then finally you're able to drop this oil pan, but it's not just as simple as dropping. This thing actually won't move even with all the bolts all the bolts taken out. This thing doesn't budge, and it's because it's RTV like silicone or Honda bond that holds it together. So we have to bust that loose as well. Okay, so we got this about, I don't know, a quarter, halfway cut around. Next, you want to try to find something else to pry with. So you see we can kind of open the gap here. Just find like a big screwdriver that you can use to help push this in and pry it down. And just try to break the seal all the way around. And so this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go all the way around this until the pan's ready to drop. Okay guys, so we are here with the pan separated. As you can see here though, I still don't have enough space to quite remove this pan, so I'm gonna have to drop this front subframe even further down. Might even have to yank on it. I'm gonna try to keep the back side of it attached and just drop this front further. So I'm gonna make those adjustments while I'm not under the car and see if I can get this oil pan out. Another thing I didn't really mention at the beginning of the video, which kind of should be obvious, you need to drain your oil before you do all of this. But yeah, so anyways, let's get this front subframe dropped a bit. Okay, so as you see, the pan is out. This was not easy, so I'm not going to pretend it was. I ended up taking the subframe bolts completely out, all 4. So both the front ones are out and the rear ones are out as well. And on top of that, I had to use this big ass pry bar and kind of wedge it here and push down as hard as I could to get this down as much as possible to get this out. So eventually I was able to wiggle it out, but it was a pain. But anyways, on to the next step. What we're gonna want to do is clean up the surface. So as you see, there's a lot of old gasket there. We want to take all that off, and I'm going to use a razor blade and possibly a Scotch-Brite pad to just make sure this is as clean as possible. Okay guys, so we cleaned up the surface. As you see, it looks very nice. Like I said, I used a razor, something like this right here, and just kind of scraped all the gasket off, and then afterwards I put some WD-40 on one of these Scotch-Brites and just took off the rest of the residue and then wiped it down with a rag. There is still some grease from the WD-40 all along here, so I'm gonna get some brake cleaner and spray it onto a clean cloth and just get the rest of this last bit of greasiness on here, because I want this to be super dry before I start applying the Honda Bond on it. So that's what I'm gonna do next, and then probably apply the Honda Bond. Okay, so I'm gonna be putting on a new oil pan. I ordered this on Amazon. You can try to reuse your old one, but from prying all that and stuff, these things warp a little bit, and it doesn't take much to get this to start leaking oil in different spots. So these are only $30 on Amazon. I bought the Dorman one. To me, for $30, it's pretty much a no-brainer. You're not going to be doing this all the time, so it's like a one-time deal. So yeah, I'd recommend buying a new one for $30 and then applying your gasket here and putting it up. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, it's getting a little dark. I might have an hour of sunlight left, so I'm gonna try and knock this out quickly. But what I'm gonna do is just put some Honda Bond here. As you see, I got it back in place. I didn't want to put the Honda Bond first because I was worried that I was gonna scrape it everywhere trying to get this pan back in place. So now I'm gonna apply it, and then I'm just gonna stick it up, put the bolts in, and that's it. Let it sit for 24 hours and the job is done. So I'll just show you the finished result if it's not too dark. Hey, what's up guys? So after 3,000 miles, I just wanted to show you guys real quick the oil pan and what I discovered. So let's take a look. So here's the oil pan. I did notice a little bit, so I just did an oil change. There's a little bit of oil drippage here, but even before that, there was just a little bit of moisture coming along this side right here. And what I noticed is some of these bolts backed out a little bit. So when you guys do the install, you might want to put some thread lock on the bolts just to make sure that they don't back out. I didn't think they would back out because I thought the RTV would hold it in place, but they still moved a little bit. Yeah, that's really the only issue I had over the course of 3,000 miles. So I think it's pretty solid and good to go. Overall, there was like no gushing oil or anything like that coming out. I just saw like a little bit of moisture here. Also, this pan requires just a tad bit more oil. So where you normally use like 4 quarts, this is going to be like 4.5 quarts of oil, just so you're aware. But yeah, hopefully this guide helped you guys, and I just wanted to be honest with the results. And yeah, see you guys next time.